that boy, he's a fucking idiot.
It's very genocide.
You have no idea. What's the old saying? Glitter, the herpes of the arts and crafts community. You go into a spotlight and all of a sudden, shit, you've got a flare-up. Guys, we're getting the microphone set up here. We're going to have a few other people joining us. Guys, thank you so much. We wanted to, with this many people, we wanted to make this a little bit more intimate. You guys like this setup? Is this okay? Yeah! Fan-fucking-tastic. Before we get going, I would like to introduce my co-host, ladies and gentlemen, the incredibly funny, the amazingly talented Lord Pandan! Who we are really trying to get laid. So guys,
check 1, 2,
guys,
hey,
if
check.
anyone has a bottle with glitter and a $200 in it, he needs it desperately. I don't want to know what you're about to do, so stop.
Testing. Oh, there we go.
I learned very recently that you do not mess with furs, because sometimes you challenge them to things, you know, like when you're up on stage and the singer goes to you, I have to pee, and I say, you'll do fine, and then I get a talking to about why there are 2 cups of urine behind the goddamn stage, Pepper! I get into more trouble because of you guys. It's not even fucking funny anymore. My co-workers found you, and they're in love.
Sorry. Co-workers took fun.
There are 2 co-workers that desperately want to come to cons, and I stopped them by saying, no, we're a cocaine-free zone. They stopped believing me 20 minutes later when I was in the bathroom smelling something so wintry fresh. I don't do coke, I smell it. By the way, who's local? Who's from here? Seriously?
Does Vegas count?
Vegas counts enough. You guys sell Zima?
Oh, Zima! I remember Zima.
Yeah, they sell
Born and raised here.
21 years.
In Reno.
Yes.
Dude, so you're broke. I was told coming out here by a co-worker with this, and he said, it's the greatest little shithole on earth. Like, really? Explain. And he told me the story of the red roads flooding. He told me the story of being alone in these mammoth casinos. He told me all these stories. I came out here. This place fucking rocks.
It's
He
awesome.
is wrong. What?
They get Tommy guns, don't they? Fire
So,
Nevada screams America so hard.
something happened at work. I don't know if you guys know, in Vegas they have something very similar. It's called the machine gun experience.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys know about the machine gun experience in Vegas? Woo! If you don't know, you can go to a shooting range in Vegas. You can rent a semi-automatic weapon all the way up to legitimately an RPG and fire it for a certain amount of money. And they have t-shirts. And I went to work on a very specific day because I work with a bunch of very, very conservative pieces of shit. And 6 of them were wearing the t-shirts that all said Machine Gun Experience Las Vegas. Does anyone know what day they wore it on?
Oh my god.
The day after the Vegas shoot. If one person had done it, he'd be an asshole. If 2 people had done it, it'd be a movement. 6 people? Okay, we're all to blame at that point. I hate my coworkers. Daz!
Hi.
How's your con?
My con is going pretty well so far. Yeah.
How do you like, what's your favorite part so far about BLFC?
My favorite part so far.
So far.
The hot fudge sundae I had last night.
You guys have hot fudge Sundays?
Yeah.
They have a yogurt place on the lower level. And I was like, I got here, I landed, and I'm like, I'm hungry, but I don't want like solid food. And I'm walking around, and I'm like, frozen yogurt! Frozen yogurt! And I'm like, and am I gonna put like healthy shit on that? Like, oh, I could put strawberries and fruits and stuff. No, hot fudge. This is the opposite of what I should be doing. I'm in Reno, so fuck it.
This gentleman over here had one of the greatest moments that I had the will to experience. When you're performing, when you're running conventions, stuff gets to you. You guys see the beautiful, polished surface of these conventions, and that's good. That's our job. We want to show you everything clean, cut, and perfect, but behind the scenes,
It's so bad.
you motherfuckers, stop peeing on things. It doesn't make them yours.
We're just about to talking animals. Content boxes!
This is the IFC vomiting unicorn. We don't know why we came up with it. Something to do with this.
Don't forget, Happy Snail.
I can't do that. My arms are too short.
Well, I'm sitting there one day and something had happened behind the scenes. It doesn't matter what, but it was devastating. Myself, the director of operations, the director of finance, we're all sitting in a room, looking down into our drinks, shaking our heads. And this guy walks in and goes, "How's it going?" Very quietly, we're like, "Not good." And he goes, "You know what makes everything better?" And we looked at him as he reached down and grabbed a Hostess cupcake.
No. This was not a Hostess.
Oh, it
cupcake.
wasn't. You're right.
There was a legit cupcake store across from the old IFC hotel. And I had brought these myself, thank you very much.
You did.
And they were like gourmet, like way too expensive for a cupcake, but worth it. And I had brought them into Con-Ups earlier, and I didn't have a chance to partake until that moment.
And he reached down, and while looking at the rest of the board of directors, opened his mouth nice and wide, and took a huge Ow!
I'm pretty sure got about 90% of the cupcake in there. Almost the whole thing, but not quite.
And as he's sitting there chewing it, and we're all looking at him in awe and shock, with a mouth full of gooey insanity, he says, "Cupcake." That made our time. But I did get revenge on him when he had a similar incident. My friend over here was feeling a little down. We're performers. We get up on stage and we try our best, and sometimes, no matter what, it's not going to work. And I went into operations, and there's my good friend Pandez sitting in a chair, and he had the look. I know that look. I bombed. And I went over and grabbed his favorite drink. That favorite drink being Angry Orchard Cinnamon, Sinful Angry Orchard, which was a cinnamon drink, but not just one bottle, a nice pack of it. And I said, "You will drink what I drink," and he said, "No," and everyone else in the room said, "Yes." It was 4 in the afternoon of Indy FurCon. 20 minutes later, the two of us could taste time. It tasted like 5 o'clock shadow. We marched down the hallway, arm in arm, trying to sing Yellow Brick Road, but he forgot the word for brick. And I believe it is, "We're off to see the wizard, and these things we're walking on. They're yellow, they're square, they're in the house, and they are all gone." And I did, "Okay, sure." We marched down the hallway to main events where Uncle Kage was performing, walked into the room, he yelled, "I'm Jello," and then walked out of the room. I waved to my good friend Sam, he goes, "You're drunk," and I said, "So are you," he said, "Touché." We made our way back to my room where I needed to do the finance count. We were off by $1.7 million. He just started counting everything as though they were hundreds, and hundreds as though they were thousands, which don't exist.
Yeah, they do.
I started counting stacks of money. I said, "I came up with 230. What did you come up with?" He said, "Pie, but blueberry." So at closing ceremonies, when I announced the charity numbers, I had to mention that they made $10,000, also pie with blueberry. Thank you for that, asshole.
You're welcome. Cupcake. Seriously, just if someone's down, mouth cupcake.
Nothing
will
even
stir up.
dribbled out of his mouth either. He had amazing mouth control, ladies.
And or gentlemen.
At this point, he'll take what he can get. Square boxes, round
It's
boxes.
time for me to think inside the box, if you know what I mean.
Yo quiero, this is rape. You poor son of a bitch. I've been performing with this gentleman now for, Jesus, we're going on 8 or 9 months. Maybe 8.
I want to say it was 2011 or 2020. No, actually it's not that long. You got me to first do a stand-up at FCN 2013.
You were shaking like a leaf.
Oh yeah. So we started performing after that. So we're talking 2013, so that's only about 5 years.
Okay, I thought we were doing this one. This gentleman over here blew me away.
Not literally.
This gentleman over here figuratively and literally blew me away with cupcake, but also he had a moment, and I got to see the very first performance of it, and it was mind-boggling. I tell stories. Most of my stories come from real life. I edit them a little bit so that they're funny and so that I don't tell you guys I'm a hardcore drug addict. You know, the normal shit. But this guy went home, thought about it, and wrote one of the greatest comedic skits I've ever seen. And the start of it was, you know, furries and Disney.
No, it was, so, anyone else in here ever invent a sex move after watching a cartoon?
Des, would you please regale us with what I consider one of the greatest comedic skits?
Oh, you want me to do the skit?
I want you to do the skit.
Oh.
Now, he's out of practice, guys. Give him the benefit of the doubt. You can stand for this.
You want me to, oh yeah, good. I can do the full stand for this.
Guys, let's give it up for Lord Pandey! You talk and get my wine.
You do that. So, and no one else would think of doing that, but you know, I mean, who here would think of cartoons and sex at the same time? I mean, okay, we're furs, we all know the deal, but so I had gone to see an animated movie with some friends, and we walked out, and they were like, "Oh, that was so warming and heartwarming and charming," and I'm like, "Yeah, I came up with a sex move." What? Yeah, I came up with a sex move. And it's called the Wreck-It Ralph. And they're like, what? No. But I know what you're thinking, you know. It's one thing what we do with cartoons and sex, but it's not like, you know, I'm gonna come home at the end of the day and they go, so Des, how was that date last night? Well, after a few minutes of dinner, I was starting to think she was kind of frozen. But then when we pulled up to go to her place, she invited me in, and I went, okay, sure. We started to get tangled on the couch. Things were quickly starting to look up. Suddenly she reached down and made a grab for controlling interest of my Monsters Incorporated. She took off her shirt. Whoa, they were her Incredibles. I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm gonna train this dragon. My Viking warrior's gonna take a ride on her toothless, if you know what I mean. But then when I went to find her Nemo, it was a Bug's Life! So I got out of there and went home to a Toy Story. To all of you who have children, you're welcome. You will now think of this every time you watch any of those movies. Hey kid, do you want to watch Up? No, you can't watch Up. But I suppose you probably want to know, don't you? You want to know the move. So I'm going to tell you. It's when you're making sweet, passionate love to that other person. And just as they're about to finish, you ball up your fist, yell, I'm gonna wreck it! Punch them right in the junk. Don't do this move. If you want a surefire way to never have sex with that person or anyone they know ever again, don't do that move.
Is that, do you know from experience?
Don't get ahead of him.
There might be one time when you could get away with this move. If you're having breakup sex with someone and they don't know it's breakup sex. Oh, this feels so good, I love you. Oh, you do? Well, hey, combo breaker. Relationship fatality. You. Now, I told that at, I want to say it was open mic. I told that at open mic, my very first time doing stand-up at FCN 2013. Later that night, I'm walking down the hallway, heading back to my room going, I had a great day today, it was a good time. And as I'm walking down, I hear from one of the rooms behind me, oh, can I I assume what happened is someone was either A, trying to do the move and it didn't go so well for them, or B, they had seen the routine and were trying to, just mess with the other person, and the other person not getting the joke, like kangaroo kicked them off of them and landed and smashed the TV or the lamp on the other side of the room or something. And the next year when we went back to Motor City FurCon, because FCN no longer existed at this point, I went to the hotel representative, who we'd been talking with all year, and I'm like, hey, I just have a question. Up on the 4th floor, was there maybe an accident where a TV was destroyed or something, or maybe a broken lamp last year during our weekend? He's like, why do you ask? And I explained the story to him, and he said, I can't tell you that story, or I can't confirm that, but if you know anyone in room 421, you'll notice their TV looks different from every other model in the hotel. So that's my Wreck-It Ralph story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit down now. By the way, I want to big shout out to BLFC for getting us in here at 1 o'clock in the morning, which for me from Eastern time is 4 o'clock in the morning. It is officially 4:30 in the morning for me right now, so yay!
And one more shout out, guys, to make this happen. AV over there, put the table out, set up the microphones. Let's hear it from the unsung heroes. Thank you guys very much. If you've ever seen a soundboard that probably has a mind of its own, that's what they're using. I watched them put one button, the thing drew a pentagram, and then Fox and Pepper sounded amazing. They are dark wizards. Yes, we are. Oh, shit, dude. He's just sitting over there you will die tonight. Thanks!
Hopefully we won't die on steroids.
Holy shit, I thought that was it! I thought it was
the end of the con as we know.
Oh my God, no!
Hey, it does, it's a cock ring for you.
Put it on your microphone.
Yeah, that microphone's staying hard. So who here has kids? Awesome, you rock. My brother has kids. I am the godfather of one of them. My brother is not a smart man. My brother is a dirty, dirty son of a bitch whose children have found ways to make his life hell, and I love it. But nothing will beat the story that a lot of you know, because my mate and I live in a house with hardwood floors, and our house is like an ice rink because lube is a thing. My brother and his fiance, they of course enjoy themselves. Apparently they left their lube out on the counter, and the kids had a squirt gun fight. It is the greatest revenge I could possibly think of. This is my brother. Me and him tortured each other for years. And the last time I visited him, I watched as we were standing in the living room, and his youngest 2 years old, from the other room goes, wee, and literally slip and slides through the living room, hits a table, and breaks a leg. And he turns around and looks at me and goes, I know I deserve this. To which I reminded him, thank you. I reminded him of one of my favorite stories from our childhood because my brother is what you would call an idiot savant when it came to messing with my parents and getting away with everything.
Oh my God!
Now, I have a bit of OCD. When that comes down to it, doesn't matter. No, I like things clean. Fuck you. My brother was the opposite. You know when a dog pees on something, they own it? When my brother peed on something, he'd break it afterwards. That way, he would hide the evidence. And one day, while putting away the groceries that he did not want to do, he had to take a watermelon into the basement and put it into the fridge. On the way into the basement, he threw the watermelon because he was sick of carrying it. The watermelon burst, and there was watermelon juice on the tiled floor. My mother, a saint, went to him and said, you are cleaning that up. And he said, okay, I'm sorry, I will clean it up. And he did. He hooked up the basement sink to the hose we used to clean the dog and just started spraying until the basement flooded. My brother did not have to take groceries downstairs. My brother did not have to clean, and after multiple incidents, he did not have to do the dishes. But seeing his child slide across the floor into a lamp and him just looking defeated, that was my mom saying hello and fuck you. Ooh, whoever gave me this, thank you, this is delicious. Did Drager go away? If you see him, tell him he's supposed to have this third chair. Send him a text. This is how we communicate. I just yell at Xander and he does stuff. I feel really bad because that's kind of how the relationship works. Like, I come home, it's like, I've had a bad day. What did you do today? And he's like, well, I masturbated in 4 rooms. And then I play Find the Tissues. But on the other side, when we're at conventions, guys, I couldn't do it without him. We are probably an hour past. Ladies and gentlemen, it was my mate's birthday today.
Happy birthday!
And as in tradition, he was still my bitch all day. I don't even mean sexually at this point. Legitimately, like, we go to cons, he's like, are you okay? I'm like, no. He's like, what do you need? I'm like, everything. He's like, I got this. I'm like, oh. And then panels happen. So thank you, Xander. Cheers.
You keep forgetting your hat.
It's right there.
All right.
It needs money in it.
That is right, guys. This is a charity panel. Once again, I always say it's the same thing. If you can give, give. If you can't, don't worry about it. We are furries. We will take care of it. Thank you guys ever so much. This is for a very worthy cause, but I am too drunk to remember it. My friend, I'm very good at this. You have to understand, in my industry, this is what I do. On the weekdays, I destroy your economy. On certain weekends, I have to go visit clients. Now, there are 3 of us at the desk who visit clients. One is the boss. Why would the boss go visit a client? They are so important, they need to talk to the most important person. But he never goes alone because my boss is basically a teetotaler. My boss does not drink. My boss, and this is 100% true, is an ex-bodybuilder who not only was in the Mr. World competition, he was a judge for years. I have seen pictures of this monster, and he has told me, under no uncertain terms, that I am not to masturbate to them. He doesn't understand how homosexuality works. I immediately masturbated to them. He does not go alone because there are 2 others. Number 2 would be my coworker. He works during days. He grew up with a silver spoon up his ass. That's the best way to describe it. He comes for money. He goes out there. He wears this very fancy suit. He talks using big words. He has a large wallet, and he takes them to fancy places. Or they get me. If I go with them, this is the normal scenario. Myself and my boss go and meet with the clients. We spend 5 minutes talking business, and then they go, where are the hookers? And my boss goes, have you met Dan? And then I find them things and we get destroyed. I would like to tell you now one of my all-time favorite stories. Some of you know this gentleman. His name is Trent. Trent is a broker of mine. He is a wonderful person. I've known him most of my life. And one night we ended up at a bar with clients. We were playing dice. We don't know where the dice came from. We just knew that we were winning. And they closed down the bar. Now the bartender was not done with us. The bartender said, "Hey guys, we're gonna keep it open for a little while. Why don't you stay?" To let these other gentlemen win their money back. And Trent, being a piece of shit, said, "I'll tell you what, double or nothing. See this tall, fat guy over here?" As I sit there with, I believe I was drinking rum and coke that night. And he said, "Have you ever heard the song 10 Rounds with Jose Cuervo?" Is that the song? 10 rounds of tequila. I'll bet you that if we set up 10 shots that this gentleman can do them in under 2 minutes. And I said, "What?" And Trent said, "Double or nothing. I believe in you." And I said, "I don't." They poured me 10 shots of Jose Cuervo in individual shot glasses and lined them up along the bar. I will now tell you the rest of the story from Trent's point of view because I don't fucking remember. I apparently walked up to the shot glasses and started singing "I'm a Little Teapot." I'm a little teapot, short and step. And I went down the line. Now Trent was aware of something. Can I do 10 shots of tequila and not feel it? No! But I am 6'8". I have very high water body count. I have a lot of water in my fat. I can survive for a minute or two. So I did 10 shots. They were terrible. By the last one, all I could taste was the burn. I put down the gun. "Oh, look at that. He did it. Are you feeling okay?" "No." "If you don't mind, I'm going to go get some air." About a minute later, they let me out of the bar. It was a second-story bar, raised porch. I went over the porch and apparently took a nap in the gravel. Trent, realizing I had not come back, went into the washroom to relieve himself, came out and yelled, "Fire!" and ran from the bar with their money. They did not believe him. They followed him outside until they found me laying on the ground, and Trent goes, "Oh fuck, I think he's dead." The assholes left. Trent picked me up, put me in the back of his trunk. Now you have to remember, guys, I am very adamant about this. This story I tell because it is funny, but I hate this line. Trent, who was drinking all night with me, drove home.
Oh my God.
With me in the back of a flatbed truck unconscious.
Oh.
Do not drive drunk. It is not funny. What was funny was apparently he forgot about me, drove home, and the next morning I woke up in a truck. I slowly sat up, realizing that I was outdoors and laying in a 4x4, and noticed the house. I'm like, "Oh, I think I know where I am." I went to the front door and Trent's wife answered in her bathroom and goes, "Oh, what the fuck did he do?" So I told her the story that I just told all of you. And she said, "Yep, that sounds right. This divorce is going to be epic." I was invited to stay with them that weekend because he has a lot of video games that I enjoyed. Guys, don't drink and drive, and if somebody's unconscious, you will hurt them if you put them in the back of a flatbed. Fucking hate that, man.
I'm shocked when you woke up, the first thing you didn't check for was, missing parts.
That's what I was about to say.
You're missing? Okay, dude, this is used material. If somebody tries to harvest organs, it's just like, nope. The heart is dying, the liver is a little bit overused. I have a gallbladder, but I don't know what it does, so no. They're not taking shit from me.
Trent's the type that would have tried, I can pass this off.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Trent would have sold me for parts. You are absolutely right. This is the gentleman who, after playing, help me out here, what's the, not Borderlands, BioShock. After playing BioShock, we got into, not arguments at work, but basically this is how we talked. And anytime we needed the other one to do something, it was, would you kindly go to the printer? Would you kindly hand me that stack of orders? Would you kindly go to hell? And one day, a Friday at about noon, Trent, would you kindly pass me the order stamp? He stood up, threw his chair back, says, a slave listen, a man obeys, and ran from the office. 3 brokers lost their shit. The rest of them were confused for about 2 hours when I got a call from my manager saying, did Trent go home for the day? And I said, yeah, I think he's playing BioShock. He's very reminiscent. You guys talk for a second. Unfortunately, yesterday when you guys had me drink straight tequila for Cool Cat Saves the Kids, I burnt my larynx and gave myself a sinus infection because this hurts like fucking hell. So please talk while I destroy my nose.
That is not the juiciest thing I've heard him do.
Hey, you want to tell a story about the vent between a basement?
Which time?
Any. They're all amusing.
Who here knows who Boozy Badger is?
Yeah. Oh, God damn it.
We may have, who here has heard some various stories of the vent between his bedroom and the basement? Alright, so Boozy hadn't either and we didn't inform him. So he recently decided to make himself a cripple, if you hadn't heard. He was over helping us out with some stuff, and so instead of making the cripple go up and down the stairs, I'm in the basement, and then Alkali and Xander is also in the basement.
I have a bedroom in my basement is what he's getting.
Yes, there's 2 beds down there. It's like a goofy old sleepover. At least that's what we decided it was about to be at 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
When we had to be up in 4 hours, 3 hours. When was John getting there to scream at us?
7 a.m.
Yeah. So now it starts with Xander. Xander sometimes will just roll over. If he can't sleep, he'll mess around on his phone. But Xander will do this thing where it's not so much that he talks to his phone, but he makes little sound effects here and there to punctuate whatever it is he's doing. So this starts happening, dead silence. We're trying to sleep. What, do I need this?
Well, it might help some of the people further back.
Oh, what? No one watched that.
Yes. We all want to hear the soothing sound of your voice.
So Xander's fiddling on the phone. This album is now a phone. Oh, uh-oh. Oh no! He wasn't playing a game. I think it was Twitter.
Or Tumblr.
Or
Grindr. Oh no!
Awoo, what's this?
So
$350 phone.
this, I can't sleep. At one point he's going and doing that. I think this is the funniest thing ever, so I just kind of start giggling, but I'm trying my hardest to hold it in. Now at this point, I can't. If you ever hold in laughter and you're an asthmatic, it kind of starts sounding like... And at that point, Alkali wants to know what the hell these two are doing.
They are using non-verbal communication with each other, and I am confused. They have done this in the past before they communicated without words. I was laying in a bed at a convention, much like this, and at 5 in the morning, as we get into the room, this one laid down in bed. He farted again, and then his mate farted. They had a goddamn anal conversation. And I don't speak asshole, so I can only imagine the translation was one of us just shit the bed. Fucker.
So this goes on. He gets angry and starts yelling. This makes us laugh even more.
Because they take me seriously.
Oh, he's threatening violence. Things are being shaken at us. We can't tell what because it's dark, but it makes this slapping sound.
Shut up.
So we get to the next morning. We're barely functioning. We're stumbling in and out of showers. We're getting our stuff together. John is just marching. Go, go, go. You shower, you out. You shower, you out. And he's screaming at us in between. Do not let me see anything I don't want to see. I will crash the car once we're in it.
He's very straight.
We all get in. We get our coffee, and then we hit the road. It's about an hour and a half to where we need to go. And it is silent. We are tired. And Boozy, from in back, goes, so, last night, I've been a furry for maybe a year. I've seen and heard a lot of things. What the fuck was that? What is that drop down on FA? What is the tag on E621? What was that?
And John, without missing a beat, goes, I don't know what you heard, but that's how they fuck. And Boozy, being the brilliant comedian he is, goes, oh, rape sounds weird in old age.
That's how
John, shut up.
That's how Boozy learned that the vent connects the bedrooms.
The vent in my house does make a beeline from the master bedroom into the basement, and the day we found that out was the first time him and his mate stayed overnight.
Oh boy.
Because apparently they were feeling a little randy that night. But you need to understand something about this little delicate snowflake over here. He is very, very ticklish.
It's true.
Now, we're all very good friends. We're all adults in my house. Stuff like that does not bother us. I own a washer and dryer. I don't fucking care what you do in the guest beds. We can fix it. Until this. Because from our bedroom we could hear them having fun, and it was rude. I felt that I was intruding. So like, hey, we'll go to bed. We have earplugs. Now we're searching for the earplugs. This is the noise we hear. Oh shit.
One, it's still funny to me. One, mentally I'm perpetually 5. 2, not only am I ticklish, we found out that the hard way, there's a giggle button up in there.
This is what I deal with. This is why I'm a comedian. Pain and fart noises.
Comedy
But it
is just
didn't
time.
end.
It's just suffering plus time.
Thank you.
It didn't end there. Like, it killed the fucking and the time. And
For about 5 minutes! It was fart, giggle, more giggle, fucking, farting, giggling, more giggling, tickling, giggling, fuck you! So finally me and him started to fuck. As we're fucking, the two of them going, we can hear it! We can fucking hear it! And I hear him whispering! If we both fart at the same time, we'll stop fucking like, fuck the fuck! So now we're playing Julie Banjos! Fart! Fart! Farting, farting, tickling. Lube goes in the butthole like, fuck you! This is not the life I signed up for!
yes, it is.
Damn it! I got my revenge on him though because my house is totally refurbished. I built a lot of my house. And in my bathroom, I built my shower. And my shower is for me. Dragger, would you stand up?
Wait. To adjust the shower head, you even have to reach up.
Yes.
Would you demonstrate?
My shower head is right about here because I am sick of taking showers that only wash my balls.
Now, I wasn't about to jump or try and climb, and because it's a shower tub combination, so technically there was a ledge I could get up on, but soap had already happened. Now, the shower head needed to be moved. I wasn't gonna just finish. So I crawl out sideways, still staying in the shower. I managed to open the door by throwing, the door was cracked. I managed to get a towel and hook it on the door and pull it open. I scream at Alec, help! He thinks I slipped and died in the shower or something. He comes running and he's, what? And I point can you fix it? Daddy, can you fix it?
You are so grounded. Des, we haven't heard from you for a while.
Correct.
Okay.
I'm kind of tired. I don't know what to say.
Guys, who has seen some of Panda's? Why the fuck do I have poker chips in my pocket?
Were you
Those
gambling
are
earlier?
to be donated. We have to exchange those for cash and put them in the hat.
Yeah, guys, seriously, this is the weirdest convention I have ever been fucking charity liaison for, because I have to go and you guys are giving me all of your quarter and nickel brooch little things from the slot machine. It's like, here you go, don't spend that all in one place. I looked at one of them, Tycho gave me a 6-cent voucher. You know I have to go cash that in. He's like, yeah, welcome to the con, and then gave me wine, so that made up for it. Des, you've helped me multiple times collecting money for charity.
I have.
Let's get off this a little bit.
Let's get off, yes.
Let's get off. What's your best memory? Best memory from doing all this charity stuff at conventions?
Ooh.
I know we have some good ones, but running out of wine.
I would have to say, personally for me, was closing ceremonies at IFC, not last year, but the year before, when we finally got IFC breaking into 5 digits, over 10,000.
That was amazing.
That was to be able to say that during my tenure, we made it from 4 digits to 5 digits for charity. I was beside myself. It was amazing.
That was pretty good, yeah.
See, that's the wonderful thing about Des. You guys get to know me because I go up on stage. I'm an incredibly emotional person. What you guys do for charity will always break me a little bit. It's so generous that a group of people like this get together and help out so many animals and help out so many creatures that can't help themselves. And this gentleman right here is one of the unsung heroes. I cannot do what I do without him, which is why at IFC this year, we're roasting him. Now, I'm not allowed to tell you what's been written so far, but everyone is required to send their material through me. And I gotta tell you, I'm sorry.
That's my line.
Say it right.
Sorry.
So guys, if you have the time, if you have the inclination, IFC this year, that's Indie FurCon in August. This gentleman will be the first of hopefully many roastees. Guys, the roast of Pandas at Indie FurCon, one of the greatest con chairmen I've ever had the pleasure of working with. Cheers.
I almost cheers with the microphone.
You can do that as long as you say the word clink.
Clink.
That's not how Eddie can now drink the microphone. ladies.
What? Never mind.
So I actually, some of you know this. I used to be with a group called Content Removed. I used to MC for a small comedy troupe, and that's one of my ladies. It's the stupidest thing, but it's an easy one-off to get the conversation moving. And I did that to a gentleman in the audience, and immediately he said something, ladies. He goes, I'm gay. I'm like, so am I. And he yelled back at me without missing a beat, no, you're not. Gay people are hot. And from backstage, my good friend Tim yells, he's a bear. And I look back and I went, and that was my line for the rest of the night. As MC, I made bear noises for 20 minutes. I kind of missed that.
Speaking of making bear noises for 20 minutes, ladies.
Sorry, the only place my brain went was that was a really deep guttural queef.
You're fired. I have an old story about Content Removed. Who here knows the Apple incident? All right. Oh, good. We have somebody who knows the Apple incident. All right. I'm going to do this one properly. We're going to do a little bit of stand-up. I used to do an event called Stand Up Fall Down. Stand Up Fall Down was a charitable event that we used to do at bars. And the way it worked was this. 5 comedians, each did usually 10 to 15 minutes, sometimes 20-minute sets. We would go up to the stage, we would do our set, and the second our set was done, we would go over to the bar. Now, the bartender knew who the performers were, and that was very important, because at that point, anyone in the audience could buy us a drink, but those drinks were free. Whatever you paid for the drink went to charity, but the drink went to us. So an hour into this, an hour into doing 5 different comedian sets, we started over with the first person. And that first person had been sitting at the bar drinking everything and anything that people had bought for him. Now, there were some glorious moments, there were some glorious failures. Yes, people have puked on the stage from this, but that was part of the fun, that was part of the joy. People liked seeing this happen until. Now, I was MC. And a gentleman came in. Now, this gentleman was an amazing stand-up comedian. And he did his set. And at the end of the set, I was informed that he had never had a drink of alcohol in his life. And I announced that to the audience. And they took him over to the bar. Now, this gentleman had something that me and him call a legal night. They did not buy him anything that was under 21 years old. He was drinking Lefroy Quarter Cask. He was drinking 20-year-old Scotch, 21-year-old Scotch. They bought him the creme de la creme for him to drink, and holy shit was he wasted. Now, the way it works, when you go back up onto stage, you try to do more of your set, but he couldn't. He was drunk, and this genius of performance performed one of the most amazing avant-garde performances that I've ever seen, because as I introduced him for the second time, he did not come out onto the stage for a good 5-10 seconds. And all of a sudden, you hear a terrible noise as a chair is being dragged from off the... I don't even know how he got it to make the noise continuously. I've tried to do it, and staring at the audience. Swings his foot around, sits down in the chair, and reaches into his pocket where he brings out a shiny red apple. And he makes eye contact with a lovely young woman sitting in the front row and takes a bite out of the bottom of the apple. Not the side, the bottom, right through the core. That son of a bitch took 5 minutes to eat an apple without blinking or ever looking away from the beautiful woman in the front row. He ate through the middle of the apple. He starts eating the sides. He's spitting seeds, and he got down to nothing but a single stem left of this fucking apple. Goes over, puts the stem in his mouth, kisses it, and flicks it at her. Goes back to his chair, grabs it, and walks off stage. Looks me dead in the eye backstage and goes, "I'm done," and falls over. To this day, I have never seen a performance bring down the house more than a drunk motherfucker eating an apple. And that right there will always be my one tip to all of you. And that is, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And if you ever want to be a comedian, always remember that story. Because you know what? It was a fucking apple. And I will never forget that moment. You guys get to talk, I need to drink.
Clink.
Clink.
It's plastic. You still have to make noise. It doesn't count if there isn't a clink.
Yes. You found the phone?
Give me. If anyone's missing a phone, I have a phone up here. After this panel, it's going into
Operations.
If Ops window's open, it gets turned in there. Otherwise, it goes to Flare.
Call of Duty Autobots. Is that you?
Oh shit.
I was going to give you the selfie stick I found.
If you take off the end, you can sound with it.
I have a friend named Nick Denny. We bought him a selfie stick as a joke. Legitimately, it's his most prized possession. Not because he enjoys it, but because it annoys the shit out of the rest of us.
You know, he's got a really good talent of turning that stuff around at you guys.
Yeah, Nick wins. Nick is he is a doctor of chemistry. Legitimately one of the smartest people I've ever met in my life. That son of a bitch. The way he greets you is with a high five. A high five of pain. It's all pain. And we were at trivia night at a bar. We were there with my friend Double N, Jen. Jen is a petite, beautiful young woman. And Nick said, "Great job, high five." And before she thought about it, she put up her hand and in slow motion, "No!" As he wham! The entire bar heard it and turned around. And Jen went, "He beat me." He stopped doing it to Jen after that.
Yeah, he makes up for it with the rest of us schmucks.
He attacked me at my own convention. He knew, guys, you're wonderful. And we all get drunk. It doesn't bother me if you're having a good time. So I'm standing there talking to the director of the hotel. And a furry in a huge bull's head hood comes up to me and nuzzles slightly. I'm like, "Oh, hey," I give me one moment. I go back to talking to the director of the hotel. And then this guy starts doing this. He moved me down the hall. I'm like, "Dude," and all of a sudden I look up and it's Nick. And he was like, "You can't ban me, I don't even want to be here," and then just ran away. The director of the hotel said, "Who is that?" I said, "Have you ever had anything from DuPont? He probably had a hand in making it." Fucking fuck.
He actually, he subverted my maid and I's fucking costumes at our Halloween party a couple of years ago.
Yes, he did.
We try and do the super gay Halloween thing, so we throw themed parties. This one in particular was Dr. Suits meets Tim Burton, so we called it the Nightmare Before Christmas. He's the one that makes my suits, so if you've seen the Robbie Sinclair suit, if you've seen my Lizard and the Imp suits, he made all those. So when he decides to decorate, we don't just go to the Party City and get stuff. He starts getting out the foam core and starts making props. So we had custom gravestones all in the yard. He made this huge Grinch bat that was up in the garage. He made giant sandworms in the basement that we put Santa hats on when Christmas came around because we didn't want to take it down.
It's fucking awesome.
And so we decided, like, okay, what are couples costumes we can do? So we did Undead Thing 1 and Thing 2. Now,
It was adorable.
I got to do the whole skull thing because I'm a baldy, and he sprayed his hair blue and green and everything. And we got the jumpsuits and the numbers and all that jazz. We're like, oh, we're great. And then in comes fucking Nick, looking like, and we didn't tell anyone we were doing this. He's got the jumpsuit. He's got the gray face, he's got the hair, and lo and fucking behold, he's got a big number 0 on his chest. Everyone called us the copycats because he had the lower number.
Leave it to Nick.
Sorry. Oh my god,
Dude, like you said, it is 4:30 in the morning. Yes,
Yes.
I understand.
I don't know what to tell.
Well,
Does anyone have?
why don't we send it out to them? Yeah, guys. Guys, we're going to start winding this down a little bit. Before we do anything like that, first off, I want to thank all of you for joining us this late at night. When I was first approached by BLFC to give them a hand at this convention, they told me that I would be running panels until 3 in the morning. I'm like, yeah, I run parties until 3 in the morning. They said no panels. I went, this convention is unlike anything I have ever experienced in the fandom. Guys, I am a first-year BLFCer, and I can promise you that this isn't my last year. I have had an absolute blast, and that is a lot of because of the fellow attendees. Guys, thank you for being here. Holy shit. So, what? Holy fuck!
Wait. So, here's how I got here. I was supposed to get in Wednesday night. Weather and a medical emergency made me miss my connecting flight. Many delays before I get to the hotel that the airline puts me up in. I don't get to fall asleep until about 1 in the morning. I'm stuck in Phoenix. My hotel room has a giant window that is facing east. So I don't know if you guys know this about Phoenix on Thursday, but by 5 a.m. it was 90 degrees. By 6 or 7 a.m. it was over 100. The AC unit in my room did not keep up. So I could not sleep. I eventually board a plane to get to Reno. I land, I get on the shuttle, I get to the hotel. It is 4:20. I have to go get a key, I have to go to the room, and then by then I have 15 minutes to get to my first panel, which I do. And thankfully Alkali was there to help me because I was frazzled. That was 2 hours. Thank you so much. It was a great panel, packed. That was 2 hours of a panel. And then it was an hour of opening ceremonies, and then 2 hours of another panel, and then 2 hours of another panel, and then 2 fucking hours of Cool Cat.
I made a mistake.
It's namesake. So I apologize if I seem a little bit out of it, but I have had a blast so far, and I am ready to sleep. It's only Friday, and I normally feel like this on Mondays.
Is this your first BLFC?
This is my first BLFC.
Talk to them.
I was in last year.
Coming here was actually pretty smooth for me, but I have a similar story to yours. Going home to visit family in Canada from about a year or 2 ago. So it was my first time flying in probably about 2 or 3 years. First off, I get to the TSA gate there, wonderful security. Everything's going smooth and going right through, okay, everything's gonna be fine. And then I go through that, not the metal detector, but the new scanner that they have.
Or they get to look at your giblets.
Yeah, and I step out, they're like, we're gonna have to pull you off to the side, sir. I'm like, well, okay, why? It's like, we need to pat you down. And I glance behind me, and there's the little stick figure guy of me, and a giant yellow block going from my groin down to my knee. And at first I'm thinking, well, that's not right. And then I'm thinking, it could be, but no. And then I'm thinking, can I get a copy of that? You know, for Facebook, Twitter, that'd be nice. So I get like felt down at the TSA more than I have at any furry convention in 10 years. Finally, they're like, okay, yeah, you're not packing anything. I'm like, yes, I know.
We brought it in, guys.
Thanks, guys. Finally get through to my gate, get my flight. For some reason, my flight got delayed. And then delayed. And then delayed. And finally, we took off and I got there to, no, sorry, that's a different story. That flight landed on time, and I connected through Washington, D.C. Go to fly from Washington, D.C. to Ottawa, Ontario. And we're circling. And we're circling. And I look out the window, and all you can see is a layer of fog about a mile thick. You cannot see the ground at all. And the pilot's like, we're gonna have to turn around, we can't land. Now I would have thought we would have landed in like Montreal or something, which is only like 30 minutes away. We turned around and went back to New York and landed in like New Jersey or something. I don't know where the heck we landed. They're like, nope, we had to land here. That's where we had to go, that's where we got redirected to. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. Get up the next morning, get on the flight. We're sitting there, we're sitting fully boarded, everyone on the flight, everyone's ready to go, and after an hour of waiting, ladies and gentlemen, we can't find a pilot for this flight. Got everyone here, all the crew and everything, but we don't have a pilot available to fly you, so we're going to have to deboard the plane. So after staying overnight in New York, I then had to go, okay, I need a new flight. And they're like, okay, we can get you out tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. So I had to stay overnight again. And found I was 2 days late getting back to work. I had to call them and go, I'm stuck in New York. I had to call my parents and say, I'm gonna be late getting in. I was due in on like, it was Friday, and I ended up getting there Sunday, with my flight going back on like Tuesday, because that was my vacation. I'm like, my 5-day trip ended up being like a 2 days in Canada.
You just described airplane blue balls.
Yeah, no, it was like, seriously though, it's just like, we can't find a pilot. What do you, like, how do you not have a pilot? He's somewhere.
Have you checked the laboratory?
Where's Pilot Doe?
That's insane. That is
Yeah.
bad shit crazy.
A little bit.
Alright guys, here's how we're going to finish this one off. Once again, don't forget, this is for charity. We're going to go out to you guys. If there's a story that we have told before that you would like to hear, we will tell it for you. But bear in mind, guys, we are comedians. If you're asking us for one of our really old stories, we haven't told it in years. We're going to be rusty. So just letting you know. That's how we're going to finish this one off. Thank you so much, Andrew.
How about the oatmeal?
Yeah. What about my opium? You leave me alone. What?
Oh boy.
Tiramisu.
God damn it! I thought I was done with tiramisu. Have a nice night, friends.
Good night. Thank you for joining us.
All right.
Tiramisu is delicious. Terrible masu, as my dad likes to say.
Who here knows tiramisu?
Other than it is a wonderful coffee dessert.
I love that Xander raises his hand like, I know what you're about to tell. I have a good friend named Bet. Now, when we were growing up, but we had a car, we spent a lot of time at Bet's house. Bet was the first of us to have his own place. We would go up there, we would hang out. That would be our weekend. Well, we had a party. A big fucking party. And then next morning, hungover, my mate, Xander, went to take a shower. I woke up and went to the kitchen and found out that my mate was showering without me and did the one thing that any sane homosexual male would do. Got myself a piece of cake. I grabbed a big old piece of tiramisu and I went into the bathroom. Now there's a curtain in the way. So as I enter the bathroom, I hear, who's there? Who's there? Guys? And he slowly slid the curtain open to find me in a pair of boxers, holding a piece of tiramisu and no fork. And as he looks at me, squinting, because don't forget my mate is almost blind, trying to figure out what he's seeing, I took my hand, grabbed the piece of tiramisu, smeared it across my eye and into my mouth, and said, love, love, love!
I woke up to that.
Xander closed the shower curtain while I was screaming love. I opened the shower and still with cake in hand, joined him. I pushed some of the cake into his mouth while continuing my war paint. Love! The rest of the house joined us in the bathroom.
That was not a large bathroom.
No, we had an audience as I could do love, 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 love. Now he's in on it and he's taking the cake. Love! And Bit said, oh my God, this is like a student-produced porn.
No, it's an art film.
It's a student-produced art porn film. Well, I thought that was the funniest thing ever, and somewhere out there is our script for a student-produced avant-garde porno. It starts off with two women on a bus. They make eye contact with each other, and then it's 5 minutes of the bus driver braking. It then goes to a flower petal opening, shooting blood from the middle into a fountain-like aspect, and goes to him where he says, woman. That's the porn we want to make. We don't want you to masturbate to it, we want you to think. And a toaster in the bathtub, yes.
Oh, a nice bath and some toast.
Ah, toast bath. No, Jimmy. All right, that is... I have not told that story in about 2 years.
I forgot about the art film.
Oh, the art film was my favorite part. We legit, not even a joke, guys, we sat in his living room for hours discussing the script to a student-produced porno, and it was getting good. We started to budget it out until we all realized that none of us wanted to be the actors and we weren't ready to hire hookers. Yes. Uh-oh.
This thing?
Yes, my friend. Microphone.
Do you mind if I share a funny story?
Go for it.
It's that part of the night, guys. Hello, I'm Kix. None of you recognize me because the last time I did this kind of shit was about 15 years ago.
Hi, Dad.
In high school, my back, my hip, my back, my hip, my hats. Back in high school, I had a friend. His name was Greg. He was a Mormon. Everyone is a Mormon. Yeah. Some of you were like, what's a Mormon?
Magic underwear.
Yeah, I mentioned magic underwear.
Magic underwear.
And my friend Greg turned 18 and decided to ask me what or where one could acquire a porno to go on your last topic. So, me, because I'm, well, most of you don't know me, I'm an asshole, decided to go ahead and find a strange porno. So I found something called Rocket a Go-Go. I don't see any recognition here, which is a good sign. Rocket, oh, maybe there is, in which case, Dan, you're fucked up. So Rocket Go-Go was a new wave psychedelic pornography, as it said on the front of the cover.
Did it come with a window pane?
Shut up! We're not telling that story.
You ever heard a really bad... Ooh, did it cut out? Did I hit the wrong button?
Did you turn
Can
it?
you hear me?
Testing.
I messed it up. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Alright. Have you ever heard a really bad remix of like a video game you really like to play? Like you're like, wow, I love Mario Brothers, and you search it online and you find this remix and you're just like, well, I like Mario Brothers, but that's kind of not a song. That's pretty much what Rocket a Go-Go was as a pornography. Rocket like 1988. Rocket like 1988. Rocket, 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 rocket like in 1988 with the hip thrust going the entire time. It was extremely awkward for everybody involved. Apparently, except Greg, with for no context, loved the fuck out of it. So the moral of the story is, if you don't know what any porno is good. And if you have a Mormon friend who has never seen porno, it is your responsibility to inflict this on everybody who decides to treat them to their first pornography. Okay, that's it. I'm done. Here's your mic.
Guys, give a round of applause.
What the hell?
I'm gonna finish this one off, guys, with something new. You guys haven't heard this one before because usually I'm too sober to tell it. I own a garage. That garage is not allowed to have a car in it because then that car would smell like weed. You see, I am very against smoking in my house. I grew up in a smoking household. You could always smell the cigarette smoke in that house. I don't like that. So I figured when me, my mate, and my friends took up the new hobby of having fun, we would do it in the garage. My garage has very thin walls, apparently, and a vent. I would like to tell you the story of when my neighbors found out we smoked. We were sitting in the garage. We were sitting in the garage. We were having a wonderful night. I believe the conversation had went to how we should greet each other when we return from work. This is a true story. My household greeting now is to take out your dick, lightly touch it to your partner's dick, and go, hi.
You like that parrot way too much.
This is the life I lead. Hi.
You know that's from a parrot, right?
No, I don't know what it's from. I know my roommates do it, and I'm confused. So as we're sitting out there discussing the merits of dick touching to other dick touching,
It's a cockatoo.
I all of a sudden hear what's up? It's only, thank you, it is only gay, but we are really gay.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, on the door to my garage, he freezes, and like it's the most natural, he goes, it's the fuzz! I'm like, no one has used that term for about 100 years. I open the garage, and there's my neighbor, my elderly, awesome neighbor, standing outside my garage, and very meekly, very shyly goes, are you guys smoking? I am so sorry, dude. I had no idea the smell was getting out. We will stop doing it immediately. I am so sorry. I didn't know it was bothering you. He goes, bothering me? This reminds me of Vietnam. Can I join you? So my elderly neighbor joins us around our best friend, Kurt Cabong. Kurt Cabong is our 3-chambered bong at the house. Why did we name it Kurt Cabong? Because the first time we used it, Xander looked at it and said, man, Kurt Cabong, this'll blow your mind. And it took me a second. And then I said, yes.
Nobody likes it.
This gentleman sat in the garage with us smoking, and he had some amazing stories. I love stories. I'm a storyteller by nature. It was incredible. But the best story he had was his friend in the trenches. Now, his friend in the trenches is an English teacher. This guy teaches high school literature. and has always told the story of why he walks with a limp, and that reason he always says is, yes, I was in the trenches of Nam, I reached over for a cigarette, and I got shot in the ass. That story is a blatant lie. Here is the real story. So they were high as shit. And one of them, knowing that they needed a new way to smoke because they were out of rolling paper, realized that you could use an unloaded shotgun as a bar. They unloaded the shotgun, they filled it with their wacky tobacco, they lit it, and then they basically did what a bunch of gothic kids would enjoy, put the barrel in their mouth and started sucking. And while they were doing this, he leaned over to get the shotgun and was shot in the ass. And this motherfucker, this English teacher, your children are learning from him. Before anything happened, he goes, don't waste it, and still lit the fucking thing. Took the biggest hit that he could. He's like, all right, let Charlie take me. I fucking love my neighbor. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a comedy better when I've had a few. A huge thank you to my cohort Dragor. A huge thank you to Pandez. A huge thank you to my birthday mate Xander. Thank you for making all of this possible. Guys, my name is Alkali. Enjoy the convention and good night.